Hey, one of my favorite watches on YouTube, former Oregon Duck star and 6-year NFL veteran George Wrighster joins the SEC Drive to break down his newly released 2026 college football quarterback tier list. And I'm going to go along with him, see where I thought he messed it up, see where he thinks I got it messed up. It's all right now on the Drive. Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome back to the SEC Drive. I'm your host, Jason Watkins. I'm here with my special guest, 6-year NFL veteran, former Oregon Duck, Mr. George Wrighster III. My guy, welcome into the show, man. I've been watching you quite a bit lately and just invited you on. I'm glad we finally got to get together on this thing, man.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Because I love talking about college football and then getting a chance to talk with different voices from around the country. You get different perspectives, and then sometimes when people don't always have the full expansive view of the entire country, it's a little easier to be like, oh, this team sucks, this team's terrible, this team's that.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I've made it my personal mission to watch every single conference, give everybody the benefit of the doubt, and then let the chips fall where they may.
You know, that means you're kind of like me. I'm that guy that's up at 2 o'clock in the morning watching the most innocuous game that's on. You know what I mean? That West Coast, whoever it may be, the late night games or whatever. I watch every bit of college football I possibly can. I love being able to talk about. I mean, it just gives you more stuff to talk about. Uh, we're gonna get in today. We're gonna jump in and welcome in everybody to the show. Make sure that you hit that like and subscribe button. You can go right to the top of the description right here. If you're not already a subscriber to the Unafraid Show, that's Mr. Reister's podcast right here on YouTube. Jump over there. It's the Unafraid Show. Uh, the link is right at the top of the description. Is it just George Wrighster or is it the Unafraid Show? I'm trying to remember what the handle was.
So it is technically both, but if you
Okay.
search "Unafraid Show," then yeah, because
You can
we
just click at the top of the description and it'll go right to it. But I was just saying, and just in case, we'll continue to let everybody know what it is. Welcome into the show, Ben G and Groovy Sooners. Guys, make sure you're sharing us all around with everybody else. And we're gonna jump into. I saw on Tuesday you did a tier list. I hadn't done a
yeah.
tier list in a while, and I got to talking about that and thinking about that. So I figured, why not go ahead and we can do we'll just do one together. That way I don't have to pick at you too much, so we can kind of pick at each other on who we think ought to be in the spot.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's here we go. There it is. Share that with everybody. Okay. Make that a little smaller. We can pop a few folks in here. Guys, let us know in the chat who you think should be in what tier. Obviously, the S tier being the elite tier. A tier right under that. Obviously, it goes on down the list. The D. That's probably guys like Marcel Reed or somebody like that. I don't know. I don't know, man. Who did you? I mean, let's start there. I guess let's. Who do you? Where do you see a guy like him? And where? I mean, we'll start at the who we think is the worst ones probably, and then kind of go from there.
Okay, so when I did my tier list, I kind of broke it up into different things. There was the
Okay.
elite guys who I thought could win the Heisman Trophy and win a national championship. So, like, some of my list was based upon possible team success as well.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah,
couldn't,
for
even,
sure.
yeah. So even if you were a better quarterback, then you couldn't be in the elite Heisman list if you didn't have a chance to win
If
both.
you're not
So
going to
I
the
just want to set
playoff or
the
anything
parameter.
like
So are
that.
we going on how good the quarterbacks are, or are we
Okay.
just going on like what their possible team ceiling
Yeah,
is?
we could kinda go a mixture of all of it, whatever
Okay.
you think whoever you think is the guy, whatever. I guess I look at Josh Hoover as I don't think he's as near as good as what they had last year at Indiana, myself, having watched what he's done in the Big 12 a little bit. I mean, I think he's decent, but, you know, I maybe he's a little better than what everybody expected
Okay.
you were gonna
So
get from Fernando, right?
well, Josh Hoover's a little bit different of an example because when you
Yeah,
look at Fernando Mendoza's Cal numbers, basically translated directly over in terms of the number of interceptions as Indiana did, as he did it at Indiana. Doesn't throw the ball away very much, all those things.
right, right.
Hoover has had more multi-interception games, all that stuff, but he was also air raiding essentially at Baylor. So he was being asked to do different things, but he's not the same type of athlete that Fernando Mendoza is either running the football. So the RPO thing is not going to be as dynamic with Josh Hoover as it was with Fernando Mendoza. So I'm actually very interested to see because I think that what Josh Hoover did in the past, we
Yeah.
won't see quite as much of it. I think it'll be more of a
Well, they got a
hybrid
commitment to the
because
run game, right? They got a commitment to the
yeah,
run game like
correct.
nobody else, really.
Yeah, and Indiana, truthfully, that when you break down their film from this last year, and this is why some people have been critical of Fernando Mendoza going out in the draft, is because there's not a lot there in terms of there's a lot of back shoulder throws, there's a lot of RPOs, quick throws, and he displays accuracy, ball placement, and good decision making, which all are hallmarks of a quarterback. But he was not asked this last year to do even the same things that he had shown that he could do at Cal. So the question is, what is Josh Hoover going to be asked to do? Because if he's asked to do because he's not necessarily that great of a runner, he's going to have to throw the ball more. So I would imagine he's going to throw more interceptions than Fernando Mendoza did last year.
Sure.
And I'm not sure if his level of accuracy is the exact same. So I do think that there's going to be more balls in danger, and you're looking at Indiana probably as like a 8 to 9 win team
Okay.
this year,
Okay.
but
So you're expecting a drop off there.
a little bit, a
Yeah.
little bit. There
Yeah,
there, there is
I
a
think it's fair
possibility
to
to get
ask. I think
in.
it's a fair question because, you know, look, they caught lightning in a bottle. There's a fantastic football team. I'm not saying anything bad about what they did. That they played efficient football. They ran the football. They played amazing defense. And really, they didn't ask Fernando to do too much, right? They asked him
Yep.
to be accurate with that back shoulder throw and, to be able to run a little bit. I mean, he made what a huge play in the national championship game to get into the end zone like that. But I don't know that can you get
Hold
that
on.
kind of
I must
efficiency
take
from
back
Hoover, I
my
guess?
statement. I must take back my statement a little bit because I misdid their schedule.
Uh-huh.
Indiana's schedule this year: North Texas, Howard, and Western Kentucky, which I've already gone in on, which is pitiful. It is terrible. It is garbage. It is to be. It
Not as
is.
bad as it was last year, though.
It's the same thing. It's
Yeah,
literally the same bad. It is the way SEC teams used to schedule in the non-conference, and 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 I don't want to hear SEC fans telling me, "Well, George, look at Texas. They played Ohio." That's just another SEC game because at the SEC
oh,
was
yeah.
only playing 8 conference games. So I slide their non-conference game into that conference game schedule. So now you got 9 good games, and then they're
Yeah.
playing 3 sorry teams. which is the same thing that Indiana is doing. So the same thing I've criticized the SEC for, I've criticized Indiana, Ohio State the year before that, Nebraska this year, everybody else doing it. And
Nebraska's ducking teams.
yeah,
You got the SC Notre Dame game no longer going on. That's wild to
pitiful,
me. It's
pitiful.
just unbelievable to me that if and I want to get into a little bit of what you feel about college football here in a little bit, but I think if there's anything wrong with it, I don't care about kids making money. They can leave if they want to in the portal. I'm good with some of that stuff because you know what? They've been getting screwed for decades. So I'm good with a lot of that stuff. What I hate is losing big rivalries. I'm an
Yes.
Oklahoma guy. I told you after that, I told you before this, and I'm hearing that Oregon State are talking about not playing anymore because it doesn't do Oregon State any good or doesn't do Oregon any good.
Well, see,
Playing in
that one, the Oregon State, Washington State. I
uh-huh,
look at that ending as a little bit different situation than USC Notre Dame
yeah.
because Oregon State,
I think it's a different scenario, but a
yeah,
hundred
because
year
they can't
rivalry
even
is a 100-year rivalry, George.
yes, but the difference is that Oregon State can no longer compete, and it will turn, and now it's a buy game. I mean, if you think about it, Oregon should have to pay Oregon State $1 million to play them, and that game should only and we know how it works when you pay somebody to play you. When USC plays San Jose State to play them,
Sure,
or Oklahoma pays Kent State or whoever else is on their schedule,
sure.
you're not going to play at Kent State. You are going to play. That is now a home game for eternity until something changes. So I don't think that Oregon, like out of respect, right? Out of respect for your rival, that you should, like, it feels wrong to pay them to play because now all of a sudden that just increases the big brother little brother thing. You're going to win by 30, 40 every single year. You're pretty much never going to win until something
What?
changes with the
What am I
with the,
hearing
with
from
the
you? What am
finances
I
thing.
hearing from you?
Huh?
You don't want to beat up our little brother like any other time? Is that what you're telling me
No, it's
here,
not fair,
George?
dude. It's no longer a fair fight. It is, and and
This is a time that it feels like it's more fair than ever for more people, though. I mean, you wouldn't have never had Indiana winning a national championship,
correct.
and
No,
I'm surprised they did still. But I
yeah.
mean, the money's there, and I guess that's what you're talking about. They're not getting the same kind of money at OSU.
Yeah, because they are still in the Pac-12. They
Yeah,
barely got they are just got the TV contract, and we're talking about a team who has lost a lot of their players. They can't compete at like their total NIL budget probably $5 million for the entire roster, maybe. They're
yeah,
it's just honestly
damn,
sad. And
yeah,
it's frustrating because you got one conference making 60-70 million dollars a year per team from the TV deal, and then another school getting 5 to 7
yeah.
a year from their
I
TV
hate
deal.
that part of it too, and that's the part that I mean. That's why I said the not playing good in out of conference games, like when Nebraska decided not to play Tennessee, and I've heard Matt Rule over and over again. Why would I play an Oklahoma game? Why would I do that? Whenever we play in the Big Ten, and it's like, what do you mean? Why would you do that? That's one of the
Exactly.
biggest rivalries of the past for both of those programs. That's why you do it so that you can get ready, but I'll be honest with you, seeing the things that Indiana, with Indiana's schedule being what it was and they being healthy like they were, are you going to continue to see that kind of stuff going on in the Big Ten?
Oh no, 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 no! And you know who's going to fix that? It is going to be the TV networks that fix that because as Indiana changed their schedule, Alabama and talking about dropping Ohio State. That hasn't happened yet, only because of the public pressure surrounding it. Other teams have dropped teams. USC dropped Notre Dame, which is garbage because that's your if if you don't do anything else at USC, you play Notre Dame.
Yep.
And
Well, Keyshawn was pissed about it.
yes, all the USC people are actually pissed. And here is where fans have been conned. Fans have been conned by coaches. They have been
Yep.
conned by media people who will sit here and tell you who sat here and cried last year. Oh, Texas didn't get in the playoff because they played Ohio State. No, it's because they
They
lost to
played
Florida.
Ohio State. It's not that they didn't get their ass whipped by Florida. It was that they played Ohio State.
No, it wasn't that they played Ohio State. It was the
Right,
fact that
right.
they,
No, I
yes,
know. That's
exactly. It was
that's
the
what
fact
they
that
were
they
saying.
lost to Florida, and for the first 6 games of the season, Arch looked like crap, and so
Yeah,
did they. So,
yeah.
so so fans now are like, well, why would we play a tough schedule? Why would because think about this: the fact that there are only 12 guaranteed college football games for your team every single year. Why would you be willing to give up what's it 25% of the season to nothingness, to non-competitive games? And then you're going to have
I don't
the
know, man.
administration screaming, why are the fans leaving at halftime? Why is the student section like Nick Saban did? Because you're playing the Citadel. The game's over.
Yeah.
You know how much it costs to go to a game, to park, to buy beer at the game instead of
Hey,
being
man,
able
yeah.
to stay at home and drink your Natty Light or whatever it is you're drinking, your
And it's getting
Budweiser.
more expensive too, George. It's getting more and more expensive.
Exactly. So why would I go to a game where it's a foregone conclusion?
Yeah. Yeah, I
And I
mean,
gotta sit in the hot
the crazy
sun and
part
get a
is you're seeing.
sunburn.
I mean, you look at the Big 12 and the ACC, and I mean, if you're an 11-1 BYU and you can't get into the playoff, you're not going to get into the playoff before the conference championship game at 11-1. They weren't lined up to go in. When are you ever going to go in with two teams? And why? Because they're really not playing anybody outside of their conference. You know, they're same kind of stuff. ACC, same kind of stuff. I mean, I was counting up the number of FCS or group of 6 schools that all these teams are playing, and it's ridiculous to me. Ridiculous to me. And
You're
some
definitely
SCS too. You know what I mean? Even at the highest level when it's such a discrepancy in money. Well, let's jump into this tier list. Give me
okay.
your out of the guys that you know probably going to be starters coming back. Who are the guys that you're not expecting the same kind of? So we'll put them in like the C and D tier or whatever if you
Yeah.
want to tier them that way. The guys that that maybe they had a decent season or whatever, but who's not going to have a big year in 2026, and it's
Okay.
probably going to be a reason that their program doesn't make a playoff run.
Okay. In my tier list originally, I put them in the Tyra Banks, Brian Brom category. Okay.
Yeah.
And by that I mean Tyra Banks, that meme, I was rooting for you. And and Brian Brom, because he was projected to be a high first round pick, and then the next year he came back and was the 55th pick. Mind you, there's nothing wrong with being a 55th pick, but if you're projected to be a first round pick and end up at 55, that's not the direction that you want to be trending. So
It is
the
not.
guys
It
that
is
I
not.
have in that category, John
Mhm.
Mateer. I could not have been more of a John Mateer fan coming out of Washington State, and people didn't know who he was. I was
You
like, yo,
talking C or D here?
I'm gonna go with, because he's still a good quarterback, I'm putting him in C.
Okay.
But his inaccuracy issues are scary to me.
You don't have to tell me, man. I'm as an OU guy. I'm probably the guy that's the hardest on him out of most of the content creators that cover Oklahoma. But I gotta tell you, he drove me nuts. Just
But he is
nuts.
tough. He is a good leader. He will run. But that offense last year for Oklahoma made my eyes hurt.
Being an offensive guy, I would imagine, right? It
Yes.
drove me nuts. I can tell you that. I'll tell you that. It drove me nuts. Okay, so we got him in tier C. So that means that you don't think much of Oklahoma's chances this year
No.
to get back to the playoff.
I think Oklahoma's defense is going to be spectacular.
Mhm.
I am concerned that they have not made significant enough upgrades at the wide receiver position and how good John Mateer is going to be. Because him and Arbuckle have been together for a couple of years, and I don't know how you make a huge jump when this is somebody that you are going to be when this is are people that you've been together with for so long. I just don't know what's different. Now it possibly
With
could be different.
Satania coming back, you do have Satania coming back, which was I think that was their biggest move. Then you go and get a Parker Livingston from Texas, who he had a pretty good year for, his first year really playing there. He had a good year. Boy, he's pissed Texas off something fierce. But and then you've got Trail from Virginia, the kid from Virginia, Trail. Is it? I'll have to go back and remember his name, but he had a 100 catch year last year at Virginia. I think they're depending on that. What I think Oklahoma's depending on the most is that they can get a running game going.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah, that was bad too.
that's how I said the only way that you can look, you're not going to change this dude's mechanics to the point that he's not going to still have mechanical problems at this point. You
Yeah.
know, this is year 4 in this system with Arbuckle and his quarterback coach. So I agree. I don't know that it's got to be about him. Now, if he can manage the game and not run the ball as much and they use their running backs, that's what Oklahoma's hoping for, and that their defense, if they can be better and he can kind of more manage the game. I'm not sure that you get a manage the game guy from him, though. Do you?
I think that's who he's gonna have to be.
It's who he's going to have to be, but that's I think that I don't know that that's what I see in John Mateer. You know what I mean? I don't
I
think
mean,
that's what I see.
see, if you treat him like like the like a almost like what they thought black quarterbacks were for a long time, guys who could run and just pitch it around every now and then. If you treat
They didn't
John
like him throwing
Mateer
it.
like that, you'll have better success. Instead, but if they sit there, I'm gonna tell you, Oklahoma's biggest mistake could be if they try to if he's been listening to all the stuff about the passing and everything else, and he's trying to prove to everybody that he can stay in the pocket and be a passer, that will be their biggest mistake possible.
It would. Okay. Okay. I've been kind of talking about that a little bit. That you got to. I look. I the concern that I'm having as an Oklahoma fan would be that look. The problem with all that is if he runs the ball like he did last year, he got hurt. Now he got hurt. The hand injury wasn't on a run, but he had a bad wheel by the end of it. He was banged up. It definitely affected his play, running 15, 18 times a game. They the idea they went and got Dalen McCullough to be their running back coach. He's been a home run hitter everywhere he's been, and then you go and get a guy like well, obviously you got Kevin Wilson coming back as assistant head coach. They're working towards running the football, I think.
You're
If
gonna
they
know
do that, maybe, but I think you still got to let him be him, though, in order for him to play,
you are
well at
going
all.
to know everything that you need to know about this team by the end of September.
Yeah.
Because you got to go at Michigan
Yeah, it's early.
and at Georgia. So you're gonna know
First 4
everything that
weeks
you need
you
to
got,
know.
yeah, first 5 weeks you got at Michigan, at Georgia, Red River Shootout with
Yeah,
Texas.
just split. Yeah, yeah. If you can split those two games early, even if you don't go 2-0, if you can just split them early, you'll be in a good spot because that'll give you
Michigan's the
one
most
more game
important
to
game, in
trip
my
up.
opinion, right off the bat. You got to win that game. Even though it's in the big house, you got to win it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. They got a new head coach. So
Who
how
else is
about we
in
go
this?
with
Who else is going to be in this little area? You can give me a couple of them if you want to, and we'll
okay?
kind of discuss whoever.
I'm going with Damon Williams,
Okay.
Sam Levitt, and Lenora Sellers.
Okay. Jamal Williams is.
You dub
There he is.
the AKA the hostage.
Yeah. And then Lenoris as well.
Yep.
Okay. So they're
Now,
all in the C.
yes. Now, Lenoris has an opportunity to make a big jump. Last year, he
Sure.
held the ball too much. Their offensive line was bad.
It was terrible,
Yeah.
terrible.
Sometimes he doesn't know what he's looking at, but also both of their tackles are out all spring ball too. One of them was playing
Yeah.
3-on-3 basketball. The other one's got an undisclosed injury, so we don't even know what's going on with the offensive line again. But the best thing that he has going for himself is he's got Kendall Briles coming over as his OC. So there's no possible way that the offense is worse than last year. No
No
possible.
possible way. I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
So he's got more of a shot than everybody else in that tier, but
Mhm.
I'm not sure if, and the reason why I put him in that Tyra Banks category and that we were rooting for you because he's got so much physical talent, but
He really does.
right now it's Anthony Richardson. It's Anthony Richardson until we make a big jump.
Ouch.
He's
Yeah,
a
because
10,
I
bro.
think I think his talent's great. I'm with you on that. I think that Lenore's has shown I think they've wasted him. They really have it.
Yeah.
And Beamer, there's a reason that Beamer's on the hot seat, if you ask me.
Well, he should be aside from not winning. Like that's
Every year it's up and down, up and down, up and down, you know.
he just looks too frantic to me. He makes me
Oh, bro.
nervous when I'm watching him on TV.
When they win, that weird little way of his is like whatever, you know. But then when those antics are going on and you're losing games, it's like, oh, dude, shut up.
Yeah.
Don't talk. Don't talk. Don't tell us about kicking the mayonnaise jar and crap like that. We don't want to hear all that stuff when you're losing.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so if I was gonna add anybody to this, I'm not sure where I think Utah is gonna be this year with as many guys as they lost to Michigan, basically. Look, Devin Dampier ain't one of them. But I think that whole new coaching staff, a lot of new players there. I don't know that
Yeah.
I'm trusting Devin Dampier.
So,
I'm going to put him in that position as well.
yeah, that's fair because the last category for me was the track stars, and I
Yeah,
put Devin Dampier, Bear Bachmeyer, and Avery Johnson in there. Now, like that doesn't mean that I believe that they're like D quarterbacks. It was just the way I did my list, but I would put them in the C category here.
yeah. So I like Bear a little bit. I want to see him pass a little better. I'd probably move him up to B because I think they're going to be pretty good, and maybe
Yeah,
even a little
he's
higher.
a true
But
freshman.
we'll
So
see if he's improved in the passing game.
yeah,
Um,
and I believe that he will because he was a true freshman that was starting when nobody expected him to because
yeah,
everybody was expecting Resliff to start. So the fact that he had that level of success and wasn't
right.
a turnover machine as a true freshman, that bodes well for the future.
Put himself in a lot of situations to get hurt though. It feels like to me. I want to see him pass better.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of a wait and see. I like BYU. I think they're going to be really good, but
Yep.
I'm just not sure about that. But if I'm staying in the C thing too, I got to put Marcel Reed in there. I don't
That's fair.
trust the dude.
That's fair.
I don't
That's
trust the dude. He didn't play good against Texas. He didn't play good at all against South Carolina. I mean, they're losing 30-3 in that game at halftime,
if you
and
can
only by
force
the
him to stay in the pocket, like that's it. Playing him, and I remember talking about it on when we were doing a show on CW last year.
uh-huh.
Is it reminded me of when we played Vince Young when I was in the NFL and he was in Tennessee.
Right.
The thing was, like, we're not gonna stunt, and the D line wasn't supposed to stunt and all this stuff. They were like, we're just going to bull rush and close the pocket so he can't escape and force him to throw the ball. That is Marcel Reed. If you can force him to stay in the pocket and throw the football, he will eventually throw it to you. And once he throws it to you once, he'll throw it to you 3 times.
Yeah, he will. He will. It's you can expect it to. A lot of people talked about that with Carson Beck, but he was worse about that. I'm one of the people that said I think he's a liability. I think that Texas A&M can take a step back. They play a much tougher SEC slate this year than they did last year.
See,
Uh,
I wouldn't even call it a step back, right? Because I think that that's what Texas A&M's fans' real fear is. They won't say it out loud, but their real fear is
just back to
that
where they normally are. That 8-4,
well,
Texas 8-4.
it's just that last year was masked by the schedule.
Mm-hmm.
that the team wasn't quite as good as you thought they were
They got
because
away with the Notre Dame game on the road, which was great
yes,
at the first of the year, but they didn't really play anybody else
they
other
only
than
played one team that finished in the top 8 in the SEC, and that was Texas,
yep. Even
and they lost.
Mizzou was like right around the middle somewhere, but yeah, that was their next best win,
Yep,
right? And it's just, yeah, it's like I said, they very easily could have lost to South Carolina, and that was a
they should
terrible
have.
South Carolina team, a
Yep.
terrible South Carolina team. So yeah, I have no problem. That's why I feel like I have to put him there. Um, I think for now, I'm not sure what I think. I like Byron Brown, but I like
Yes,
Byron
I'm
Brown
putting
at
him in the B
USF, and
category.
I'm not
Yeah,
sure that the USF Bulls are going to be as successful in the SEC at Auburn as they were in the American Conference.
see, I'm gonna push back there. I'm
Okay,
gonna push back there
okay.
because everybody talks to, oh my gosh, this SEC talent and all this stuff. One of your best quarterbacks came from Division II Ferris State.
Fair
The
enough.
best running back
Fair
was a
enough.
transfer, was a
I
small
didn't just
school
say
guy too.
I didn't really say anything bad about Byron, but the most of the team being from USF,
Hey
it's a
man,
tough sell, man.
man, a lot of that team from Indiana came from James Madison too. And,
Okay,
and the first year
okay.
they won 11 games. So I do think it's a little bit different of a situation, but I really like their head coach,
Alex
and I think,
Golesh, you're a
yeah,
fan. Okay.
I think that he's just a grinder, and he just really, really wants this, and will leave no stone unturned. I believe Auburn will be better. I don't think that they're a
They've got a
championship
tough
caliber
slate
team or
too, but
anybody. Yeah,
I think this is year one. I think it's tough. So I'm gonna probably have him in that C myself here because I don't see him going
Ooh.
any maybe in the B. I may pop him into a B and see kind of where it goes, but he could hover between those two for me.
yeah, I
What are
like him.
your
I like him in that B category.
you
He'll
like him in
be.
the B? What about Hoover? Do you think is he a B guy? Is he a
Yeah,
guy for you?
I'm putting Hoover in the B category, and part of that has to do with the same benefit of the doubt that we give other people. Like think about how many times, oh my gosh, this is a Nick Saban coach team though. And we got to give that to Kurt Signetti a little bit
Listen, you
right
kind
now.
of
Like
do.
I don't see it, but he knows what he's looking at. And this
Listen,
guy threw for a lot of yards, had a good season. So it's
I kept
so
thinking they were going to get beat last year sometime, and
nope.
they just didn't.
Yeah, they're like, we do not care about your history. We do
I,
not care.
we do not care. We don't, and look, I mean, you got to give it to them. At the end of the day, I felt like Miami let them they let them off the hook for sure, but they did the things that you got to do to win a championship, and so you got to take your hat off to Kurt Signetti for the
Yeah.
way he's done it.
Ira Brown last
Can Hoover play to the level that you need him to play to in order to uphold that? I don't know. I think, and how are they going to be as the hunted instead of the hunters?
Yeah,
You
that's a
know,
whole nother thing. So Hoover last year threw for 3,400 yards on
he did.
66%, 29 touchdowns, but he threw 13 picks. So he needs to cut that number in half to have success.
Right.
But he
Agreed.
did. So he threw
Mhm.
34 more passes than Fernando Mendoza last year for less yards, but he finished with 41 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. Granted, he played 3 more games than him, but no, sorry, 2 more, but still, no, actually 3, but still.
Mhm.
And Byron Brown last year, 3,100 yards, 28 touchdowns, 7 picks. He did a good job.
Yeah, he did. He's a better passer than I think a lot of people give him credit
Correct.
for sure. Um, you know, okay. Well, let's start. Let's see. There was one more I was just about to ask you about. What about Nico Iamaleava? He was not a very good player last year, but they had a very bad team. There's this new hire there at UCLA. I know you were talking about that coach with the film
Yes,
guy the other day.
yes. So Bob Chesney.
Does this
So I'm
change? Does this turn Nico around?
okay. So I know that people are not going to feel this, but So I watched every single UCLA game last year because my wife is went to UCLA. We have UCLA season tickets. I don't get a chance to go to many games because I'm at the studio on the weekend, but I
Sure.
still watch every one of their games because she watches every one of their games. So
I mean, again,
Nico
I watch as
at
many games as I can, so I get it, man. No
Nico
worries.
was a dog last year. Like that was the thing that I took away was that he's tough as hell because he took a
Uh-huh.
beating. He made
He did.
some like at times he was really good on a very bad and disenfranchised team. I'm higher on Nico than a lot of other people are. I'm I got Nico as a B guy.
Okay, yeah.
I am
I hadn't said anything about him in the C's because I don't think he is a C. And I'll tell you, I was one of the guys that was saying last year when everybody was trying to praise, and I'm a Josh Heupel guy, but everybody's praising Tennessee and the way that they handled that situation. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, you guys taught him how to do business like this
yep.
and sue the NCAA and all that stuff over the way that you recruited him, and now you're talking about it's too much with him. Come on,
Yeah.
man, you're the one that set us off on all this craziness. So I've always been I'm not one of those guys that's just going to trash on Nico and act like he's what's wrong with college football. The real people that are the culprits are it's not it's not the players. It's not the
They
players.
all
So
wear suits. All the real all the real
and listen,
culprits are in suits.
you can say what you want to say, and he didn't have huge numbers, and they had a great running game and a great defense, and Josh Heupel leaned on those two things, and they went to the playoff over it. This kid
Yep.
can play. I think that this is a big year for him, and I've got him B
I was
and
super
kind of
happy
to
that
where
he did
you wouldn't be that surprised if he had. I don't know how many games that UCLA can win, but you win 7 or 8 games and you have a big year yourself. I think that's a big jump for them, right?
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah.
It definitely is. Yeah, so I'm so I'm excited about them. Um, I also next I would probably put in this kind of same category. We got to
Uh-huh.
go with DJ Lagway and Bryce Underwood.
Okay.
I am putting them in. I'm putting DJ Lagway. I'm putting him in the D category, and I'm putting Underwood in the D category too until remain otherwise. I think that both of them kids could end up back in the portal. I'm
Uh-huh.
sorry, not back in the well. Lagway could end up back in the portal.
Back in the portal, and you
Underwood could
think
end up in the portal.
Underwood as well?
Yeah, I'm okay. So I'm a huge Kyle Whittingham fan.
So am I. Yeah,
I think that he is completely underrated as a coach. I've
absolutely.
always wanted to see what he got a chance to do with elite talent. I think that if Underwood can take a slice of humble pie this offseason, fix his footwork, because his footwork was atrocious last year.
It
Atrocious.
was.
I have two quarterback sons, and I'm looking at it like, Lord have mercy. It was like watching a 14-year-old, bro. I
Uh,
was like, come
okay,
on,
set your feet,
kid.
or watching John Mateer too. Set your
Yeah.
damn
So
feet, bro. Come on, come on.
yeah. So I am. If he takes a piece of humble pie, he can go from a a, a D for me to a B plus A
Oh, you said
potential.
D for these guys, Lagway and Underwood, huh?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. I thought
okay.
that after last year, I am. Yeah. Lagway was awful last year. Awful. Awful.
I
And
put Avery Johnson in the C's. I don't think we talked about him though, but I like Avery Johnson. I think with
with
Klein.
Kleiman.
Wait,
Yeah.
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 Now that you've got Klein back in as the head coach and
Yes.
running that offense again,
Mhm.
I think that you might see him get turned back in the right direction there.
Correct. He's a guy that the
I think
arrow
he's a B. Actually, I'm going to bump him up
yeah.
for me.
Where like the arrow could see. I would put him I 100% understand why that's the way you feel, because I think the arrow is up on Avery Johnson with Klein back in there with
Yeah,
them. I think that that's a potential like big win for him.
hmm I agree. I agree. I've liked him for a long time. Now let's talk about. Look, there's another guy that I'm going to put up in the B category, and I mean, he got to play in a lot of games. He didn't start anything except for one game last year, but I like Kamario Taylor in year 2 at Mississippi State. They, you
Yeah,
know,
that could be something good there. That could be
six
something
foot
good
five.
there.
He's got a rocket arm and he runs a sub 4.5. And this kid is legit. He's from right around Starkville. Look, I think the arrow's pointing up on him as well. I don't know how many games that equates to them winning, really, but I think this is more for Mississippi State. It's about not as much about what they do offensively, but what are they going to do defensively now that Zach Arnett's back in the building as the defensive coordinator again. They only really needed to be a little bit better, George,
Yeah, if
on
you're
that side of the
Mississippi
football.
State, you just have to like not get blown out in some of these games. They kept more games close last year.
They couldn't
Um,
hold off Texas and they couldn't hold
yeah,
off Tennessee, and they
yeah,
had them both beat.
yeah.
I
When you
mean,
get in the so I think that the difference between last year and this year for Mississippi State is that if they get in those positions, they will close some of those out.
yeah,
And but you just want games to just consistently be close. Like you're like, oh my God, we almost had them.
yeah,
And then you get a couple. And if you can get 5, 6 games out of this, you'll be in good shape. Like people will be happy if you lose a like 3 or 4 close games and
yeah. I
win
think I
2 of the
think you can
close
win
ones.
7 games, and it's a great year if because their schedule is brutal, no doubt
Yep.
about it. So it's I think that a learning year or whatever, but I think that he's got the ability to kind of maybe turn some of that stuff around depending on the games that they have. But I think the defense is going to be important to that too. So that's where I'm kind of waiting to see. But I like Kamario Taylor a lot. Um,
Yeah.
I also I like Darian Mensah in this B category as well, and maybe even kind of an A because I think that I think that he probably fits what they want to do at Miami even more. Um,
Okay. If as far as talent wise,
yeah,
I'm putting Mensa maybe in the S category, bro.
okay,
He
okay.
is.
He's kind
I
of a fringe for me, so I'll go with that. Talk to me about that.
the kid last year at Duke. So in 13 games, he threw the ball 500 times. Only
Mhm.
the kid from Delaware, FAU, Sawyer Robertson over at Baylor. Those are a kid from Arkansas State. Pretty much the only people that threw the ball over 500 times. Okay,
Mhm.
he threw for 39.73 on 77% completions, 34 touchdowns, only 6 picks at Duke.
Yeah,
So if
it
you give
was
him
a
a
big
better
year it
offensive
was a
line,
big
better
year
wide
for Darian
receivers,
Info.
yeah, you should have. I just don't think that Miami's going to be able to win a championship this year, but I think that they are
That's
going to be
trench
a good team
problems, if
again.
anything, right? Though I think they're going to have to replace quite a bit in the trenches, and that may hurt them a little bit. But listen, they could be better on offense, but I think they're going to have to run the ball a little bit more themselves. And I think that may be where they struggle, right? That may be where they struggle.
And because they're losing a top 10 pick at tackle, they're losing another draft pick at tackle. On the offensive side, they on the defensive line, they have some really good players on some really good young players on the defensive line, but you as good as those young players are, right? They're not going to be as good as Mesidor and Ruben Bain were. Like that's just even if they are in 2 years, this year they won't be as good as them. So I think that even though they may be very good, it'll still be a little bit of a drop off from total domination up front.
Right, right. Okay, all right. We're having some issues here, so let's check. Who's next here? What did I have here? We're starting to get down to some of these guys. I'm a fan of Michael Hawkins, man. I think he should have played more last year whenever when Mateer got hurt. He's got a big arm. He's shown that he could do some things as a true freshman. And I think going to West Virginia in Rich Rod's offense is going to be good for him.
Oh, it'll be perfect. All they're going to do is spread it out
I
and
think he's a Pat White that's got a better arm, man. And
whoa,
that kind of player. He's that kind of player, man.
whoa,
Hey,
that's
man.
aggressive. That's aggressive. But
Hey, listen, listen, man, he worked with Kyler Murray's dad his whole going through high school. This is a kid that as a senior in Texas 5A, they went to the semifinals and he had 55 touchdowns and 3 turnovers.
Yeah.
Let it come back at Auburn as a true freshman in his first start.
Listen,
I mean,
I'm not saying he can't do that.
I think it's a good situation for him, is what I'm saying. So we'll see. I think it could be better than this, but I'm partial to the kid for sure.
Yeah. All right. Some other players that I like. I have Dante Moore and CJ Carr in the S category.
Yeah, I kind of figured that. What about Arch?
Those feel like layups, huh?
Those are layups. What about Arch?
B.
Ooh.
Until I see, from what I've seen out of Arch right now. So what? Here's the truth about Arch. I watched Arch play. I watched his huddle, watched him play some games coming out of high school. If his last name was not Manning, he would not have been the number 1 player in the country. He didn't go to the Elite 11, didn't compete against high competition in high school, none of that, right? Okay. So that's fine. I'm getting excuses. Oh, he was hurt at the beginning of last year with the foot. Everything had to have surgery. Okay, cool, right? He looked terrible at the beginning of the season. He looked good at the end of the season. What am I supposed to make of this? That's a B to me. Until and last year, everybody said, oh my God, he's going to be the greatest quarterback that we've ever seen and all this stuff. And now this offseason, just wait till next year. He's going to be the greatest quarterback we've ever seen. All right, cool. Show me. I've seen enough to where I'm like, he's a good college quarterback. I believe it. But whether it's his confidence, whether it's injury.
You are putting in the work. But are college coaches actually seeing you? Recruit Runner turns your talent into a digital recruiting profile coaches can find instantly. Add your highlights. Link your social media. Upload stats, transcripts, photos, and camps. Now, coaches searching your position and state can discover you in seconds. And the cost? Less than a fast food meal. $7.99 a month. $59.99 for a full year.
What's up, man? Did you hear from them? Yeah, Western State just messaged me.
Recruiting is not about luck anymore. It is about visibility. Recruit Runner, run your recruitment.
You just told me, and I made you stop because you got to say this one more time now.
So the player
you told me that Arch Manning is in the B tier of your quarterbacks list for 2026.
Correct. Starting
with the way he played at the end of the year, even.
Yes, starting 2026, he's going in the B category.
Okay.
There have been times where I've seen Arch flash, and I'm like, yo, there's something there. He's for real. Watched him play in high school. If he were not named Manning, he would not have been the number 1 player in the country. Okay. And it's not that he can't play, that he's not talented, any of those things, because all of those things are true.
Sure.
He didn't go to the Elite 11, didn't compete against the other quarterbacks in the class and all of that stuff, didn't play against a high level of competition, and anybody else would not have been the number 1 player in the country, okay? But the kid is very, very talented. He's mobile. He has a good, strong arm, good pedigree, all of those things. There were times last year where I was throwing my hands up, like, what are we looking at? And yes, it could be the foot injury, it could be anything else, but I am judging this objectively. Arch looked good at the end of the season. He looked.
Now listen, I already told you I'm an Oklahoma fan, so you don't have to you don't have to oversell it for me. And I got to tell you, I don't agree with you, but
he could finish the season in the S category, but I think it is objectively reasonable to put him in the B category to start.
Okay. I know everybody can hear, you guys can hear me now. I know everybody can hear him because they're responding to our guy, George. Now, George, obviously, he's want to make sure that I go ahead and get this out there since nobody's been watching, but George is a 6-year NFL veteran and former Oregon Duck. Finished your career in 2009?
11. So I finished in the NFL in 10, and then I played a year in the UFL.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
but but now college football analyst on
On the
Unafraid.
CW.
Yep,
Yeah. And
CW Heisman voter. So
I
yeah,
love
and
it.
then and some other awards too. So listen, man,
The
I'm not
show
a
is great, by the way. I've told you this a couple of times. The reason I approach you, I love your show. You are a truth teller. You tell it like you see it, and I'm similar, man. I try to do the same way, and I'll say what I feel. I think
yes.
they're kind of on you with this Arch one. I would have him at the very least. I got him in the A category, and I think he's probably more on the elite side. But I do agree with you that he's going to have to earn at least part of that. With Cam Coleman coming in and them having a better running game, assuming they have a better running game. I hate saying this because I can't stand Texas, but I would tell you that they're a real threat. Now, we do know Texas to underachieve, and we've known Sark to underachieve too. So
Yep.
it doesn't surprise me too much. I would put him in the A at least for now. We'll leave him in there for where you've got him. But I'm going to also say I've got Jaden Maiava. I've got him in the B, and I would probably put Arch in the A at least myself.
Okay. So
And I like Jaden Maiava too. I
I'm
don't
a
trust where USC's headed here. They've got a tougher in-conference schedule than they've had since they joined the Big Ten.
Jaden Maiava is so confusing to watch because he has amazing touch on the football. Amazing touch. He can layer throws, like that's his superpower. But also
I'm a fan.
sometimes he predetermines throws, and there were a bunch of times last year he just chucked the ball up toward Jacoby Lane, who made him right.
Yeah.
And there's nobody to chuck the ball up to this year because Makai Lemon is gone, who is a fantastic, potentially top 10 pick.
Mm-hmm.
Tanook Hines, who is replacing him, is a smaller guy, like around Makai Lemon's size. He's really good, though. But he's not going to be as good as Makai Lemon was last year. And they don't have Jacoby Lane. Jacoby Lane saved so many. Like, when you look at that Oregon game, if Jacoby Lane doesn't make 3 hero catches, they probably lose by 28. 3 hero catches.
Right.
So I'm not. I like Jaden Maiava. I'm just not a believer to the point that he is like he's a big, strong athlete. I got to put him in the B category.
Okay. You got him in the B also. Okay. All right. Well, there's only a few left that need to really be talked about. I think obviously
Like you told me that I could either have Nico or Jaden. I'd probably take Nico.
you would take Nico. So would you probably you think he can move up to an A position this year with the way he plays Nico?
I think he could. I just don't think that he has earned that. I think that if we're going to put,
would you put Byron Brown up there in the A?
If we're going to put Byron Brown in the A, we got to put Arch in the A.
I think Arch is in the A anyways, but
yeah.
Who else?
Yeah,
Anybody else you're seeing here? Kamario Taylor, Bear Brockenmeyer, or
I don't
Bachmeyer?
think any of those guys have done enough to.
And obviously, material. We didn't. Obviously, the live stream didn't see us. You guys could go back and check it out later, or I'll have it out later. But we both have material low, but the expectation is that he can take a step forward.
Right.
And the thing about John Mateer is if they run the football and he can manage the game, just be a game manager, I think things are going to be different for him. But it's all going to depend on whether or not he can play as a not having to be playing hero ball and that kind of stuff. Is that kind of where you're at on that too?
Yeah, for sure. But there's a couple big names that we haven't named yet.
Go ahead.
Julian Sand, I got to put him in the A category. I believe that
He's
kid
A for you. He's an A for you. Okay.
because well, actually, no. He deserves being an S category.
I was just going to say, I think we'd have to put him up there. This is
So,
a guy that has one loss,
yes,
2
and
losses as a
here's
starter, right?
I saw him play against my son in high school,
Okay.
and I've seen a lot of them in person at camps at all over the place because they were the same class. Julian Sand is not going to wow you when he gets off the bus, like physically. But he's not small either. He's also not gonna wow you with his arm strength, but he's got a good arm. He's not going to he's not impressive in any possible way until you turn on the film or you watch him throw and you're like, damn, he doesn't miss throws. He's extremely accurate. Damn, he makes good decisions regularly. So that's his superpower. Good decisions and accuracy.
And he's got Jeremiah Smith too. That doesn't hurt anything.
Yes, and Carnell Tate and Bo Jackson.
Carnell Tate. I mean, listen.
Max Blair.
I think I could complete 60, man. I could probably complete 60 with those guys. Probably not. That being said.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying is that he doesn't wow you physically, but he also wows you with he typically is a good decision maker. And he was a freshman this year. And he was or his first year starting. And so I'm actually excited about him.
We didn't get to say this in front of the audience, but you got Sam Levitt in the C, and I didn't really talk about him. I would at least probably, just because of him going with Lane Kiffin, I'm expecting him to be at least around A. I think it's going to get not so fun around Baton Rouge if he's not.
A? Oh gosh, Lord.
Playing at LSU under Lane Kiffin, I think that he's going to have a much better season. I do. I don't know.
Y'all are in love. People have fallen in love with Lane Kiffin. Jeez,
Lane hasn't won anything. I've said that a bunch, but what I'm saying is they've got plenty of weapons for him to play with. And look, you can say what you got to say. Lane Kiffin makes points on the board. We haven't talked about Trinidad Chambliss at all. I think he's absolutely in the S class, and that's because of Lane Kiffin.
I'm putting Trinidad in the A class. Sam Levitt. Here's the thing. People were so goo gaga over him in the transfer portal. So his first year at Arizona State, 350 pass attempts, which is not a ton of pass attempts, 2,800 yards, 24 touchdowns, 6 picks. Last year, didn't throw for very many yards. Granted, he only played 7 games and was a hurt, but think about it. He missed the second half of the season last year. He's going to miss all of spring ball. He may or may not be back ready for camp. And we're expecting him to play well? No.
You're talking Levitt. Okay.
Yes, Levitt.
I mean, I get what you're saying. I do think that he's going to have a better season. Now, I think he's probably at least around the A, though. Myself, I can see him dropping to a B in that.
He did not start. If he didn't turn out to be the starter at the beginning of the season, or if he ended up with like a Austin, like the kid at Ole Miss, where because Trinidad wasn't the starter coming into the season.
He wasn't. No, that's Austin. Yeah. Austin.
The kid that's over at Missouri now.
He's at Mizzou now. Yeah.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I think that he took him all the way to. He was within a play or two from getting to that national championship game, though. He should be back. We'll see now. Obviously, they've appealed that decision to the Mississippi Supreme Court. We'll kind of have to wait and see how that turns around.
I really hope he gets his year back. I really do.
Me too. I man, it's crazy. It really is kind of crazy how
passer, that would be incredible.
Mm-hmm. I'll put 2 Levitts, and I'll put one in there for where you had them, and then I'll put one in there for where I have them too. So that way everybody knows that it wasn't a
It was a George slight, not a you slight.
Not necessarily that. It's just that we weren't in agreement on that one. It's okay to not be in agreement on all of them. I mean, that's cool.
We haven't talked about Brendan Sorsby either down there
Have
at
not
Texas
talked
Tech.
about Brendan Thorsby. That's who I was about to bring up. We haven't talked about them. Let's see. We hadn't
Gunnar Stockton.
Gunnar Stockton we hadn't gotten to talk about at all yet. And I think he's an A that can be a elite. Myself.
Who? Gunnar Stockton?
Yeah.
I'm putting Gunnar Stockton in the A category because, like, I don't think that he has the same NFL potential as some of these other guys in the A category, but he does a good job of managing the game, running the offense. He's got to step up as a passer over the next year, but he's because Georgia's going to have so much success, he probably gets bumped up a category probably higher than he necessarily should be. If he were at Arkansas, we would be putting him in a different category. That's all I have to say.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I got you. I got you there. But he's not at Arkansas. He won some big games. He was able to go into shootouts and win against Ole Miss the first time they played them, and then obviously going into Knoxville and at Neyland Stadium and winning that shootout there with Tennessee at the early part of the year. One of the best games of the year last year in the SEC, I felt like. I think that Gunnar, I think there's some things that he needs to do better, but I think that they need to run the ball. And I think, listen, I've got Georgia as one of my early favorites to win the whole thing. So I think that.
Whoa.
I do. I think that they're young. They were young last year. They probably shouldn't have been. Probably shouldn't have been able to win the SEC championship game as young as they were everywhere, especially on the defensive side. But
so, who do you have as your favorites to win the title this year? Just the short list.
Yeah, it'd be Georgia. I think Georgia right up there at number one. I think Ohio State's right there with them probably. I don't think that Indiana's going to repeat. I would tell you that I think that Texas has a pretty good shot. I think if Oklahoma plays offense with that defense being what everybody thinks it's going to be, I think that they're going to have an outside shot. But it's look, I think it's still pretty wide open. I said this last year. I thought there was probably 6, 7, 8 teams at least that could win the thing. I'm not sure what I think about Alabama this year. I see LSU as a year out for sure before they really make a move. But I also like Ole Miss if they get Chambliss back. If Ole Miss gets Chambliss back and they have the kind of year with Kejuan Lacey that they or anything close to it, and they added a guy at the portal that had 1,800 yards last year at a lower level, but to have a second guy that did that, I think Ole Miss is in its window to make a move there, and I think that they can definitely do it.
You've named a lot of teams from the second best conference in college football right now.
Oh,
you've named a lot of teams from the second best.
And I also think Oregon. I think Oregon with Dante Moore is definitely one of my favorites, no doubt about it.
So for me,
but Dante has to play better than he played against Indiana, man.
Yeah, for sure. I would agree with that. I mean but that was the only team that gave him problems.
That's fair.
The only team.
I'm a Dante Moore fan, man. Yeah. I saw him when he was in high school twice. I like the kid, but
so my early favorites.
Okay.
I think the two teams that have the absolute best chance to win a national championship are Oregon and Notre Dame.
Yes.
And
CJ Carr. We didn't really talk about CJ Carr yet. But he has to be in that.
Oh, he's in the S category. He's in the S category for me.
Without a doubt.
I'm going to go from there. I think that there's a tier down from there. And then in that next tier, I got Miami, Ohio State, Georgia. And the only other SEC team that I think has a possible shot is Texas, but I'm not even sold on that, to be honest with you.
I think it's going to be a lot of it's going to be on how well does Arch play in his second year as a starter, right? Because here's the long and short of it. They fired Pete Kwiatkowski, but that's an offensive issue. They've been carrying their ass for 2 years.
Dude, Pete Kwiatkowski was the same dude that had one of the best had the best pass defense in the country the year before.
I know. I know. Listen, I get it.
That's your scapegoat?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, our offensive line is shitty. Fire the DC.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was go figure. You know what I mean? It's like, but they did go get Will Muschamp. It's not like they hurt themselves in doing it. I'll say that much.
Yeah,
they've got a strong guy. Look, I like the running backs they brought in, and when you go get a guy like Cam Coleman, who is a number one at the next level,
yes,
a surefire number one at the next level, you go get a guy like that. Look, I think Sark is running out of excuses if they don't find a way.
Yeah. If they don't at least make the playoff this year, granted, you can't fire him. That would be absurd. But there would be reason to be staring at him though, like, what's up?
Yeah. Listen, I look, I'm not a Texas fan. You know I'm not a Texas fan. I'm an Oklahoma guy, so I say F Texas and horns down all day. But that being said,
don't do that. You'll get fined for that. They will try to shut your show down.
Bro. This isn't the Big 12 anymore. This isn't the Little 12 anymore. The Little 12, the Little 12's little stuff doesn't exist, not in the SEC. So
thank you. I'm so happy about that.
Me too. But they still whine about it. They definitely still whine about it. You know,
we do not care. We do not care.
We do not care.
At the
end of the day, I think that Sark is, I don't think they're going to fire him or anything like that unless they were to go really bad. But if you miss the playoff, I think things get really itchy down there for him in Austin.
Yeah, back to back with what they've put into the roster. Yeah, back to back missed playoffs would probably not. It would put a little. They'd be like,
There's going to be that. There will be a lot of conversation. A lot of Oklahoma fans are convinced he goes to the NFL. If that's the case, there's been talk about the NFL. I know he said no about it, but
NFL. Listen, I do believe that the first
time give him a shot
gets to be a head coach in the NFL, he's gone. I firmly believe that.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't know if he has a bad season at Texas that all of a sudden NFL teams are going to start calling. That's what
I don't know. A bad season, I'm saying like 9-3 again is still. It's not going to get him fired. I don't think, but I don't think 9-3 gets you in. I don't know. Maybe it does with the 9th game added. We'll see. I don't think it does. Yeah. All right. Guys. As I said, something was wrong with the stream. We kind of had been putting this together for a while. In the D tier, I would probably have Underwood in the next tier up, but we got George had Underwood and DJ Lagway there. Possibility of moving up if they play better. I'm one of the guys but I've been saying I don't think that Marcel Reed. I think that there was a lot of smoke and mirrors with him. So I have him along with Mateer. You guys know how I feel about Mateer if you're an Oklahoma fan. I think we need to see better out of that kid in year 2. Until he's out of it, I have him in the C tier. Lenoris could absolutely shoot up there with having Kendall Briles as the coordinator now. That being said, I think it's tough. They already lost 2 of their starting linemen.
Yes.
But you can see the B tier, the A tier there. I think A for and I think that it's pretty close for Arch for the elite tier, but I think you want to see him go up there. But actually, George has Arch here in the B. So that's where he had him going there.
The other guys who are in the A, I feel like it's fair to put them in the A.
Right. You did have Minsta in the S tier as well?
Yes.
Yeah, I think he is too. And I think Trinidad Chambliss, we may be at odds on that one. I think Trinidad Chambliss is the best quarterback coming back right now as far as what we saw from him at the end of the year. He was fantastic. If he gets to come back again, I think Ole Miss has a real shot. If he doesn't, they've got Deuce Knight coming. I don't see them going that deep, but I still think they could be pretty good. Byron Brown, I would have probably had him as a B. You had him in the A. You had Levitt as a C.
No, I think I put no. I think you moved Byram to an A. I think I had Byram in the B category.
Okay.
But I'm fine with him in the A. If Levitt is in the A, Byram Brown has to be in the A.
Okay. Okay.
If Levitt's in the A.
Okay.
Yeah, Byron Brown, who's played better for the last 2 years, has to be in a category above Levitt. We did not put Brendan Sorsby anywhere yet.
Okay. Who you got? Who you got there?
I got Brendan Sorsby in the A category.
Okay.
We didn't talk about the Polk's new quarterback, Drew Mestamaker.
Drew Mestamaker. We didn't talk about him. Where are you at on them? And I had him somewhere in there, and I'm not seeing him.
He's a B for me. That was listen. He led the nation in passing, which is noteworthy, considering that Trinidad Chambliss, Carson Beck, Dante Moore, Julian Sayin all played more games. But he threw for 34 touchdowns, 9 picks. So my only problem with Drew Mestamaker is this, and this is not even a knock, is that Drew Mestamaker didn't play. He didn't play well against the top competition last year. That's my only issue. When you go to the 2 games he played against ranked teams, which were UCF and Tulane, he threw a combined 6 interceptions and 4 touchdown passes. Now, granted, this was his first time starting. He was a true freshman. He didn't even start in high school. So to do that, but now he's taking a step up in competition. He's a B guy for me with the he got 2 arrows up. Like it could go. Like I think he's a future face of college football. But it could also be Peter principle, where you get elevated to the level of your incompetence too. So he's going to be playing better teams on a more regular basis, but he'll be playing with a better team. So I'm B category on him too.
Okay, so Sorsby, and then who else? We were talking about Mestamaker as well, but man, I swear I had those dudes in there a minute ago.
Chat. They said you bring in resumes. What good team did Dante Moore beat or show out against? So here's the thing: is when you watch the kid play, you look at his accuracy, his decision making. Like those are the things that you pay attention to, and the throws that he makes. Tons of big time throws, and a lot of people don't know that Oregon lost their wide receivers. Like they were down to basically 2 scholarship or 3 scholarship wide receivers in the middle of the season. And so they leaned super heavy on the run game. And the kid is I got a chance to see him throw at 3D, and coming out of high school, like after he was out of high school, but before college started, I was like, oh, this is the best non-professional quarterback I've seen throwing the football. It is highly impressive. Highly, highly impressive. Mm-hmm. Yes, and never mind the Indiana game because
there's a Texas fan that he's coming back at you about your art stuff is what he's doing right there.
That's fine. He knows Arch was bad at the beginning of the season last year.
I think he was pretty good at the end of the year, but I agree. I listen. And look, there again, throw as many darts at Texas as you want. I don't even know what
to make about the Michigan game in the bowl game. What am I supposed to make out of that? Michigan's coach just got fired. Transfer portal open.
Listen, and look, around here though, let me just say this. Around here, it's always a little of this.
The brand has finally returned. Fuck your brand.
That's one of my favorite Oklahoma creators. Shout out to Oni Kuno. Yeah, we throw that up there because, yeah, whatever. All right, here we go. Let's see. So who else? So we have Mestamaker in there now, Sorsby in there. You had both of them in the B, right?
No. I have Swordby in the A category. I think this
Sorsby
kid.
in the A category. Okay. I'd probably have him in the B. Mestamaker, I think he's probably good in the B for me as well. Yeah.
Other big name quarterbacks that we haven't named: JKS, Jaron Kiwi Sagapuatelli out of Cal.
From Cal, yeah. JKS.
Yeah, I think we got to put him in the B category. He's a young guy with a ton of upside, played well for the majority of this last year. I like for a guy who was a true freshman. It was like it was one of those true freshman seasons that you are.
That was a crazy omission by me. I enjoyed watching JKS play. That guy can go.
So, it was one of those freshman seasons where obviously it wasn't perfect, but when you are a true freshman and you come in the ACC and put together the type of stats that this kid was able to put up, you are going to be highly thought about. And he finished what did he throw for? 64%, 3,400 yards, 18 touchdowns, 9 picks on a bad football team where the head coach got fired as a true freshman. Highly impressive.
Yeah. Agreed. Great season for JKS. I'm a fan of his. Where do you have him at?
I got him in the B category.
Okay. I think that's fair. That's fair. That's probably where I'd have him. I think that either one of these guys, Nico or Maeva, could move up depending on what they do. But I think you're gonna have to see it look, I know you don't have a lot of time though. This is our tier thing. I'll put all this together and you guys will be able to get more out of us on that one. But before I let you get out of here, I wanted to make sure that we talked about, we were going to do a tier thing for the coaches as well, but let's not do that. I saw there's been some talk the last couple of days about coaches on the hot seat. Kalen DeBoer, if he doesn't make it to the playoff a second time, just because of how crazy it is at Alabama, there's a lot of people think he's on the hot seat for sure. I don't know that I think that he's on the hot seat for this year, but it could be like that when they're not running the ball. Lincoln Riley, year 5 at USC, hasn't made the playoff yet. They went back to 9 wins, but had really just, they've been trending the wrong direction since after that first year with Caleb Williams winning the Heisman. And I think that there could be a hot seat there. They can afford to get him out of there at USC. We all know that, right?
I mean, that's a big ticket though, because he's still
it is a big ticket, right?
Like 50. He still got 50 some odd million left after this year in guaranteed money.
He does, and it's actually, I think it's still more than that. I think it's more like 60 million. So at the end of the day, I know they still got to pay him. But here's the question I would ask you though. Then you got, I think that we talked about Beamer early. I think Beamer's got the hottest seat in college football right now because, he's been there as long as he has. It's every other year they go 4 or 5 wins and then they go 7 or 8 or 9 wins. I don't think that they're, when you've got Lenore Sellers, it feels like he's been wasted there at South Carolina. That's tough, right? That's kind of a tough deal. I would expect, I know he's got the hottest seat, but out of those other 2 guys, what are your feelings about DeBoer? Will they let him get out of there at Alabama, in your opinion, George?
No. See, here, the Alabama fans are very funny, right? Because
of course,
last year they didn't want Kalen DeBoer at the end of the season. They wanted to punt him into the sun. Oh, get rid of him. But the second that Michigan wanted him, now all of a sudden, you can't have our head coach. You can't have him. Like what?
Right.
I thought
and then they got rolled though they got rolled over though in the playoff by Indiana, and then they were kind of wishing that he had gone a few of them at least.
Exactly.
Right.
So
I don't think in most places it would be a hot seat. And he may not be in trouble with Greg Byrne. I don't think Greg Byrne was ready to fire him yet. But if it's not going to work there for Kalen DeBoer, would you not just consider they hit 9-3, don't make the playoff? Do you not flip that thing and try to see if you can get Kurt Signetti to come if you're Alabama?
Listen, I'm going to tell you this right now. Kurt Signetti is not leaving Indiana for Alabama. This is not the old days. Zero chance.
Oh
What
man,
what can
I don't know, man.
here's the thing. No. Hold on. Hold on. Let's just think about this through a logical lens, okay?
But wait.
Hold on.
I want to, before we look at it through a logical lens, I want you to admit that it's not always about logics with these fan bases in places like Tuscaloosa.
I understand that. Okay, so if you are Kurt Signetti, okay, the thing that everybody used to say is, "Oh my gosh, that Alabama or Ohio
It's
State, they're just
also a
going to
tough
offer
place to turn
more."
down. It's the blue blood of college
No,
football.
it is
Alabama.
not. No, it is not. Alabama is Alabama. And I know that Alabama fans are going to be hard to hear this. It's going to be hard for Oklahoma fans to hear this. Alabama's trending in the wrong direction, and it's not because of it's because not because of the coach. It is because of the state of college football right now. Alabama does not have Indiana money. Indiana has multiple billionaires. They have the largest or one of the largest living alumni out in the country. So here's the logic for you. What can Alabama give Kurt Signetti that he doesn't have already? They can't give him more money. He's the highest paid coach in college football. They can't give him better access to a national championship. He just won one. They can't give him more NIL resources because Indiana's got more money. There is nothing that Alabama can give Kurt Signetti that he does not already have at Indiana. Nothing.
He's got to sustain it before that's a fact. He's got to sustain what he's doing there. I mean, I know he's got all the runway and the roar. Just if he never win another game, he's still the GOAT in Indiana history. That being said, I don't know. I'm not saying that he's leaving. I'm saying that's who they would be targeting for sure. And all I'm saying is Kalen DeBoer's seat may be hotter than a lot of people think it is.
I would agree with that. I would now that part 100% agree. But Signetti and Dan Lanning are both off the table. There's a 0% chance that either one of those dudes goes to Tuscaloosa if he gets fired. I do believe.
You think Dan Lanning wouldn't go as the second guy to replace Saban? You don't think? I mean, everybody else seems to leave Oregon. It feels like
no chance.
Huh?
He set up his contract intentionally. That way people would stop asking. His buyout just for the university. So you know how buyouts for coaches like tear down. It'll start out when you first get a contract at $20 million.
Sure.
Then it'll be like 15. He told Oregon, keep it $20 million the whole time. I'm not leaving. And then he loses Nike stock and all of this other stuff. If he leaves, it's not. And he's happy there. And here's another note. His family he promised his kids, I am not leaving. That we are not, because his oldest son had lived in like 8 different states or 8 different places. And he was like, we're not moving again. As long as I don't get fired, we're not moving again. So, and he's a dude who keeps promises. So it's just not he's not one of them people that is going to leave. I told people.
I wonder if what we're going to see though, and this would be my only question about it, about Signetti. I wonder if we're going to see more of it now that if you can't get him to go in, they're going to take away all his assistants and he recreate his assistant staff. Because this is always a question that championship coaches have to do, is they have to replace coordinators and a lot of coaches. And that's when you find out, what are they really about? You talk about like Dabo Swinney.
Yeah,
Dabo Swinney hasn't been the same since BV left. He wasn't the same before BV got there either.
Yep. No, I 100% agree with you. That Dabo.
At Alabama, though, you could go and get the assistants that you could probably need to get. You know what I mean? I don't know that you can't replace them at Indiana either. I would agree that the money-wise, they're in good shape.
Than you do in Alabama.
Yeah, it's definitely an easier road. But I think that he feels like the guy that's just wants – he just cocky enough to think that he could do it at Alabama too. and want to prove himself. No?
It's tougher to do it in Indiana. He's proved. So why would you not think I
Is
can
it tougher to do it in Indiana? Because I don't know that it is.
What?
You got a tougher conference to go through at Alabama. You have a tougher conference schedule. Now you got 9 games, and plus you have to play a non-conference Power
The Big
4.
Ten is the best conference in college football right now.
At the top it is. At the top it is.
No, this is
Oh, I know you got to go, so we're going to have to argue about this another time. But listen, it is not. I would tell you, at the top, the Big Ten, I'll give you the Big Ten at the top. George, I can't give it to you as a full-on conference. You know you can't really take it as a full-on conference. There's no way. And I don't want to hear about your bowl games that nobody cares about. Come on, man.
No. Let's just take last year, for example. Where do you think how many games in the Big Ten do you think Kentucky, Florida, South Carolina, Mississippi State, and Arkansas win?
What you want to talk about? What about Minnesota and Northwestern and Nebraska? Even for that matter, UCLA's been awful. Penn State wasn't good. I mean, Maryland was terrible. We're talking about Rutgers is in the Big Ten.
Here's the SEC argument. Okay,
Rutgers is in the Big Ten. Michigan State exists.
So does Mississippi State, and so does Kentucky, so does Arkansas. These teams are bad. And the idea that Penn State is the prime example of what SEC fans talk about all the time. That's a talented football team. It is tough to go in Starksville and win, man. It is tough to go into Kentucky and win. That's a hell of a road win against a tough opponent. What?
Okay.
Dude, I
think it's tougher to win at the moment because you're not Nick Saban. I'm saying I know that before now, Indiana it's just got to be the toughest place ever to go win one but I don't think it's as tough to get through the Big Ten. I just don't think it's as tough to get through the Big Ten. No way.
Think about
There's
this.
no
To get
way.
through the Big Ten, you got to get through Indiana, Ohio State, and Oregon, which were three of the 5 best teams last year. You got to get through USC, who's not a top Big Ten team, but they're still good. Michigan, who just won a national championship 2 years ago, the Cheaters. And Iowa's a tough team. Washington's a tough out. Illinois is a tough out. And people point to Minnesota. They were 8-5. They're a good football team. And so was Northwestern.
Their 8th win was against Central Michigan, man. Come on.
Wait, what?
It. Their 8th win was against Central Michigan in that bowl game. Don't do that.
Happens,
Don't do that. It's Central Michigan. I'm busting your chops. But out of those guys, so what about Lincoln Riley? We saved the best or the slimiest for last on that conversation. What about Lincoln? Is he in trouble?
No. Well, yes and no. Okay. He's in trouble in terms of USC has rounded up a lot of money. They have hit all the coffers. There's all sorts of stuff pouring into the program, resources, everything else, just built a new facility, everything. I don't believe he's in danger of getting fired because they're not going to want to pay that buyout. But I do believe that he's in danger of losing resources and then being a year away from being fired. So I think that if they don't have,
he could find himself squarely on the hot seat. There's a lot of people that have said that he could lose the job, but I don't know what it would take to get there.
Yeah, but USC doesn't act like, like some of the other big name schools do in terms of knee jerk reactions. I think that they're going
with an expanded playoff. Is it not? If you're a blue blood team, isn't it? Don't you feel like it's okay to expect at least a playoff run with a 12-team playoff?
Yes. And not even every year, but at least on average, every other year, you should. You should.
Year 5, he hasn't made it. You know what I mean?
Yes. So I'm saying I think that that if they don't make the playoff this year, okay, and they're 9-3 or worse, then I think that he ends up in a Mike Norvell situation where
Mike Norvell's definitely in a lot of trouble as well.
Where they
should definitely be on this list.
But only because of the money.
Mm-hmm.
and then that means your resources are going to be
Kind of the
down.
same situation that Norvell's in right now. They didn't fire him this year, I think, only because of money.
Yes, yeah, and it's not because because I've Mike Norvell has shown that he can be a good head coach. He just fell into a big, huge trap. He fell into
The
the
all
transfer
portal trap, that where your culture turns into
Yep.
no.
And you're chasing your tail.
Mhm.
So he's on the hottest of hot seats. I
Yep.
think Luke Fickle at Wisconsin, who I think is a
Another
very good
hot
head
seat.
coach, he needs to wrap his new quarterback Colton Joseph in bubble wrap because he's been having quarterback injury issues, but their defense has been good.
Mhm.
Dave Aranda at Baylor, hottest of the hot seats.
Very hot. Very hot. But it's just,
Mike,
I don't know if they're going to fire him for whatever reason. He didn't get it done yet again, and they still didn't fire him. For whatever reason, they like Dave down in down in Waco. Weird as
I
he
think
is,
this is the end of the road if they
and I
don't
like
have
Dave, but man,
for this year. I think it is boys to men time if they don't win this year at the
okay,
level they want to. Mike Loxley, hottest of hot seats.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
I see that. I see that. Maryland is Maryland, but I get it. I agree. They were already trying to fire him this year.
yeah, but so Baylor and Maryland, I think were and Wisconsin. They saw how many coaches got fired, and they were like, there's a lot of competition, and we didn't go all in on NIL. So let's see if we can help them out some. Shane Beamer, who we mentioned.
Beamer, I think he's on the hottest seat there is. Yeah. Period.
Bill
Yeah.
O'Brien's on the hot seat at Boston College.
Okay. I can see that.
I think that Deion Sanders is on the hot seat.
Ooh.
Yeah. I don't feel like that's
I don't know. I don't think that they fire him there. I don't think that they fire him there.
If their win total came out at 4.5. If they go under, you got to make a move. Because it's not even the fact that he's not winning, it's the fact
Right.
that the instability in the coaching staff. They're turning over the roster every single year and turning over the whole coaching staff every single year. It's not sustainable. It's not going to work.
Got it.
If he can't get at least 6 wins this year, and I like Deion. I want him to win, but if he don't win
No,
six
I'm a
games,
Coach Prime fan. I agree.
and I
Rule
also
is hot seat adjacent, says James Thrice. I would have to agree with that, and I think rightfully so. If you're a Rule, Matt Rule, hot seat adjacent.
yes, yeah, but I think that he's a year away from being on an ejecto seat. So because the Nebraska fans were like, we had the youngest roster in the entire world this year. In any country in the world, we were the youngest. We had 3,762 freshmen.
If I was hearing this thing, I would tell you that both Oklahoma and Texas's coach, if they don't have returns to the playoffs, and I think Oklahoma is a situation with the way their offense has been the last couple of years, it could put Brent in trouble again if they have another bad year on offense and it doesn't end up being the season they want it to be, like a return trip to the playoff. It could get uncomfortable for him, and it's always uncomfortable in Austin if you're not making the playoff.
If Brent Venables wins at least 8 games, he's not getting fired. But I do think it could get very uncomfortable.
It's going to be uncomfortable at 8 games, and that if it's 8 games, here's what I'll tell you: if it's 8 games, the problem with that is going to be, what do you do in the Texas game? You're 1-3 against Texas. If he loses to Texas and doesn't score another touchdown, it's in fuego.
Okay, 8 games and beat Texas.
Oh, he's in. He stays.
Yeah.
But I think they're expected more than that. I think it still will be a little uncomfortable. They're not going to fire him for that, though. No. It's not an ejecto seat. That's what I was saying. I also don't think it's an ejecto seat in Austin either.
No.
But you're always kind of, I know a bunch of Texas fans, and a lot of them will say, you're always on the hot seat in Austin. Always. As kooky as that sounds, you're always in trouble. And a second year with it to waste the Arch Manning years, no playoffs with Arch Manning.
God, that's so the waste Arch Manning years. It ain't like you had Caleb Williams and
I'm not. Hey, listen. I'm not telling you that he's God's gift. I'm telling you this is the second year in a row he's the Heisman favorite.
He was the Heisman favorite last year too.
I know. That's what I mean.
That oh my God, we wasted the Arch Manning years. Like he was, like if Michael Jordan never won a championship, and you're like, oh my God, we wasted the Jordan years. What?
I didn't say that. hey, I didn't say all that. Easy. I'm just saying, and look, I'm just saying, well, there's always, I think that it's always just stuff any time somebody I really respect as a Texas creator always says all the time that anytime you're doing a hot seat list, Oklahoma and Texas's coach has to be somewhere on it because you're a bad year away from it, no matter what.
All right, I got one more coach that I want to put on this list.
Okay,
but I'm going to put him on the retirement list. Even though I don't think he's ready to retire, they might be on the way to forcing him out, and that's Kirk Ferentz if he can't put together some good offense.
Oh yeah, he should. He should.
They are getting sick and tired of rock fighting their way through games and not having a legitimate
with a great defense like that, and they just can't get it going on offense either. It's not good.
Yeah, it's pitiful. And the fact that they had to force him to fire his son was insane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. From a Horns fan perspective, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. From a Texas fan perspective, they're gonna see that as wasting the great years.
They think that Arch is 6 pound, 7 ounce baby Jesus. That's why.
That's correct. Yes, the Golden Arch. The Golden Arch. Hey, man, I appreciate you coming in and hanging out with us, George. I'm sorry that we the first part of it went on. We'll redo it anyway, and I'll send you the copy if you want to put up anything.
All right, perfect. All right,
tell
thanks,
everybody
man.
how to find you again. I appreciate you coming on. You got to come back on. We're gonna have to argue some more, man. I enjoyed it.
All right, yeah, you guys can go on Unafraid Show on YouTube or wherever podcasts are found. New episode dropped yesterday, and new episode dropped on Tuesday, which I think all you guys will enjoy. Had Brooks Austin on, and we went through each SEC team's biggest fear.
Each SEC team's biggest fear. That was a good show. It was a good show. Brooks he's a good dude, man. I like old Brooks.
Yep.
Man, I appreciate you coming on. Anytime we can have you, we'll have you on back, as the season gets closer. Let me know if we can do anything for you, my guy.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. George Wrighster, former Oregon Duck, 6-year NFL veteran, the host of the Unafraid Show. Appreciate him coming in and giving us some time today. George Wrighster, man, I love his show. Been watching it a lot over the last month or so. I caught it. I started watching it a little bit last year, caught a couple of episodes, liked it, but man, he's he tells it like it is. He gets into it on Twitter a lot. I've been enjoying the show, man. I appreciate everybody coming in. Guys, I don't know what the hell happened with the live stream. I couldn't even tell you what that was. So I guess I'll figure that all out and we'll put that all back together. Maybe we can get him back on and but I am going to be back on here in a little while with Marcus Dent. So you guys make sure you guys come back. Look for us supposedly at 7. We may go to 7:30 or so. About an hour from now, we'll be back on the SEC Drive. We're going to break down Mississippi State. We're gonna definitely get into some of that kind of stuff. We got a few other things that we want to do, but we want to preview Mississippi State. We want to look at some of the other things going on in the SEC conference. There's a lot to talk about, man. There's a lot to talk about. So excited about. We're going to be having more and more stuff. Look for us in about an hour. Make sure you share us. Sorry, guys that you didn't catch the first part. I'll go in and put those two together and post it. So I'll just make this unavailable after this, and then I'll post it all together. But thanks a lot for coming in. We'll see you all in the next one.